Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. From the course of characterization techniques, today we will study the continuous spectrum. X-rays are produced when any electrically charged particle of the sufficient kinetic energy is rapidly decelerated. Mean when the electrons absorb some energy from the incident photon and go to the excited state at the higher energy level, and that electrons will not remains in the higher energy level. It will decelerate or it will come back to its original level. So after decelerating or de-exciting the electrons, the X-rays will be emitted. So we will study when the electrons will be generate the X-rays, or sometime it will not generate the X-rays after the de-excitation. So for this purpose the electrons are usually used. For this purpose the radiation being produced in an X-ray tube which contain the source of electron and also the two metal electrodes. The voltage maintained across these electrodes some tens of thousands of volts. We need very high voltage across these electrodes. Rapidly draw the electrons to the anode or the target, which they strike with very high velocity. Then X-rays are produced at the point of impact and radiate in all directions. We can see this phenomena in this diagram. Here this is cathode and this is anode. We can see the high voltage is applied across these two electrodes. So across this filament the electrons will be emitted due to the thermoionic emission. Heated filament will emit the thermoionic emission. The electrons will be emitted from this filament and they will move in a straight line towards the anode. At the anode position the target is fixed. So after the excitation and de-excitation of the electrons within the material of the target, the X-rays will be emitted in all direction of the tube. This is the glass tube which is totally evacuated tube. So here you can see what happens inside the atom of the target material. Here when the incident X-ray or the electron is absorbed, electron energy is absorbed by the electron in the case shell, then it will excite it. It will go in the higher energy state, maybe L or M. So it will leave one vacancy in the case shell. So every electrons in the other shell will try to fill this vacancy. So the probability of filling this vacancy by the L shell is more, because it is the nearer shell, is more as compared to the M shell. So when the electron of the L shell fill this vacancy, the radiation of K alpha is emitted, where when the electron from M shell is filled this vacancy, it will emit the K beta radiations. So you can see that the K alpha radiation, the intensity of the K alpha radiation is very high as compared to the K beta radiation, because the probability of filling this vacancy for this L shell is more as compared to M shell. If E is the charge on electron, let's suppose it is 1.6 into 10 raised to power minus 19 coulomb, and V is the voltage across the electrode, then the kinetic energy of the electron on impact is given by this equation. Kinetic energy, that is equal to electron volt, is equal to half mv square, where m is the mass of electron, that is equal to 9.11 into 10 raised to power minus 31 kg, and v is velocity in millimeter per second just before the impact with the target material. Most of the kinetic energy of the electron striking the target is converted into heat, less than 1% being transformed into the X-rays. So most of the energy of the electron is converted into heat, or it dissipates into the glass evacuated tube. So only 1% is consumed for the generation of X-rays. When the X-rays coming from the target are analyzed, they are found to consist of the mixture of different wavelengths. Okay, so there are many wavelengths, K alpha, K beta, and many more. And the wavelength depends upon the transition of the electron, from which shell the electron fill the vacancy of the K shell. And the variation of the intensity with the wavelength is found to depends on the tube voltage. As the tube voltage is higher, the variation in the intensity become higher and higher. The intensity is 0 up to a certain wavelength called the short wavelength. That is, the shorter wavelength increases rapidly to the maxima and then decreases with no sharp limit on the long wavelength. We will see in the next slide in the diagram. When the tube voltage is raised, the intensity of all the wavelengths increases, whereas where are the concern with the smooth curve, whose corresponds to the applied voltage of 20 kilowatt or less in the case of molybdenum target. Here you can see, when we have applied the low voltage across the terminals, let's suppose 5 kilowatt, 10 kilowatt, 15 kilowatt and 20 kilowatt, we can see that the intensity is going towards the maximum and then the minimum. There is no extra peak. This is the continuous spectrum, and we are not getting any characteristics radiation which is used to investigate the crystal structure. This is the continuous spectrum of the X-rays. So as the voltage of the tube increases up to 25 kilowatt, you can see here the two peaks, two spikes. One is the K alpha radiation, that is the characteristics radiation, and other is the K beta radiation. K alpha radiation is due to the de-excitation of the L shell to the K shell, and K beta radiation is due to the de-excitation of M shell to the K shell. So these two rays are very important for the characterization of the material, especially K alpha radiation, because the frequency of the K alpha radiation is comparable to the interatomic distance. So we can investigate the crystal structure with the help of K alpha radiation very easily, and this K alpha radiation is used in X-ray diffractometer. And here we can see that this is the spectrum of molybdenum at the voltage 35 kilowatt. So we can see that when we increase the voltage across the tube, the intensity of the K alpha radiation also increases. In the previous pictures you can see, you can see that K alpha radiation intensity is not so high. So at 25 kilowatt, when the voltage is increases from 25 to 35 kilowatt volts, you can see the intensity of K alpha radiation is very high. So this is very important feature of the X-rays. The radiation represented by such curve is called heterochromatic. Heterochromatic means it contains more than one frequencies, or the continuous, or we can say the white radiation, because we know the white light contains many frequencies. So in this case we are calling it the white radiation because it has more than one frequency, since it is made up like white light of the rays of many wavelengths. White radiation is also called Bremsstrahlung, German of breaking radiation, because it is caused by electron deceleration. The electron deceleration is responsible for Bremsstrahlung. The continuous spectrum is due to the applied deceleration of the electron hitting the target, since, as mentioned above, any decelerated charge emit energy. So all the decelerated electrons emit the energy of different wavelength, then it give the continuous spectrum. Not every electron decelerate in the same way. However, some stop in one impact and give up all its energy to the target, while others are deviated this way and that by the atom of target, successively losing the fraction of their total kinetic energy until it is all spent. So some electrons will give the energy in different steps, not in one impact. So those electrons which stop in one impact will give rise to the photon of maximum energy, that is to the X-ray of minimum wavelength having a very high energy. Such electrons transfer all their energy, electron volt, into the photon energy, and we may write this equation like this: electron volt is equal to the photon energy, that is equal to h nu, maximum energy in one impact. Now the shorter wavelength lambda, that is equal to lambda minimum, lambda is equal to c over nu maximum, that we can write it as hc over ev. By substituting their values in the wavelength, shorter wavelength, we know that this is the Planck's constant, h is the Planck's constant, c is the velocity of light. So we can write the equation with their values in this equation. 6.626 into 10 raised to power minus 34 is the value of the Planck's constant. 2.998 into 10 raised to power 8 is the value of the velocity of light, and so on. This is the Coulomb charge, and we can extract the value of the wavelength at shorter wavelength, that is 12.40 into 10 raised to power 3 per volt. This equation gives the shorter wavelength limit as the function of applied voltage. Thank you very much for your attention.